and welcome to HS Game Time Live, Week 8 of the high school football season. I'm Pep Fernandez. We've got a lot of great highlights coming your way, a lot of scores as we break down another great week of high school football here in inland Southern California. We've got, the Smudge Pot on deck, Redlands against Redlands East Valley. Our guy Javier Cabrera was there at the game on the scene. He's got some great highlights as the Wildcats and the Terriers had a shootout that went down to the wire. We'll have those highlights, so please stick with us. We also have video highlights of Vista Murrieta and Murrieta Valley, a battle of undefeated teams from the Southwestern League. Video highlights of that coming up as well, plus a big-time rivalry right here in Riverside. La Sierra taking on Nor Vista, and River Valley League supremacy on the line in that one. First place up for grabs in league play. But we start out in Menifee as Heritage hosted Paloma Valley in a rivalry game that's getting a lot of attention. A lot of people talking about this one as it's still kind of new between these two schools, but it's a rivalry that's quickly growing and getting, as we said, a lot of attention between the players and the fans. All right, Angel, let's take you out there. Let's roll the video of Paloma Valley and Heritage. And before the game started, they retired the number 2 jersey of Donovan Adams. And then there it is, the Menifee Bowl trophy. The Patriots, they would come out swinging in this one, although Paloma Valley had the ball first, and that's David Solis breaking off the big run here, but watch out because Jamal Morrow strips the ball loose, and Heritage would recover. Then it's the Patriots on offense. Quarterback Matt Bradshaw to the big man. Evan Rodriguez hauls it in. Gets the big hit from Solis, but he hangs on there. Then later, Charlie Wallace for the Wildcats scoots in there and gets the sack. Now we move to the second quarter. Heritage with the ball. Jamal Morrow. He's one of those game changers. He was in our HS Game Time poll question this week, and look at him go. Morrow, 85 yards for the touchdown, 7-zip. Heritage on top in this one. Then later in the second quarter, to the kicking game. Logan Netter boots one through, and that gives the Patriots a 10-0 lead. Back come Paloma Valley. Brent Bohm, Bebo to Matt Orzik, the tight end for the big gain. And that would set up this. Just before halftime, Bohm to C.J. Parker for the touchdown. It was 10-7 at halftime, and Heritage would hold off Paloma Valley by a final score in this one as they win the Menifee Bowl by a final score of 24-13. So congratulations to the Heritage Patriots. All right, now let's check out some of those other scores from the Sun Belt League tonight. Javier, let's crank up the scoreboard. And we start in the Sun Belt League because we just had Paloma Valley and Heritage. All right, there it is right there. Heritage now 3-0 and 7-1 overall with the 24-13 win against the Wildcats. Moving on in the Sun Belt League. Elsinore over Temescal Canyon 35-20. So Elsinore also undefeated in league play in the Sun Belt League, 3-0 now. And one other score from the Sun Belt, Lakeside and Paris. Lakeside gets its first win of the season, holding off Paris by a deuce. 16-14. Lakeside is a winner. All right, back here live in the studio. The highlights roll on in the River Valley League. Now, not only are La Sierra and Nor Vista huge rivals, but now they're also, they're huge rivals, but they're league rivals now too because they used to play early in the season. Now they're playing in Week 8, and it means something because they're playing in the River Valley League, and both teams were 2-0 heading into this Week 8 contest. All right, Angel, let's go to those La Sierra and Novi highlights. In fact, Angel was at this one. He had a lot of action to bring back. That's Jonathan McCoy ripping off the big run there for La Sierra. And then it's McCoy. He did the work. Time to get paid. Punches it in. Cashes in with the touchdown. 6-0 La Sierra. But the Braves answered. DeAndre Castanon, 69 yards on this touchdown run, and that would tie the game at 6 apiece. Then it's back with La Sierra on offense. The quarterback, Derek Cruz, to Aquari Eddington. He's got the nice gain there. And then later on that same drive, La Sierra punting. Bad snap there. Nor Vista is all over it, and that would give the Braves great field position deep in La Sierra territory. Andrew Martinez, he gets the call, bounces to the outside, and he is getting in there, stays on his feet, and into the end zone there. 12-6, Novi on top. Now back to the Eagles. We've got a Johnny Salazar sighting, playing some receiver. The long-haired Salazar goes in for the touchdown, and La Sierra goes on top 13-12. Back come the Braves. Justin Smillman, quick out to Victor Gonzalez, and he will do the rest. 65 yards down the sideline he goes, as Nor Vista is a winner against La Sierra. Final score of 27-13. So, back here live in the studio, let's take a couple look at those couple other scores from the River Valley League. Javier, you got those River Valley League scores first? Let's crank those up. As we told you, Nor Vista is a winner, so the Braves stay undefeated in league play now. A perfect 3-0 in the River Valley, and they're 4-4 overall, but more importantly, 3-0 in the River Valley League. A couple more scores from the River Valley. Moreno Valley holds off Ramona. The Rams so close to their first win of the season, but the Vikings get them 25-17. The Vikes 2-1 in the River Valley. And one more score from the River Valley League. Jurupa Valley over Patriot 24-20. Both of those teams now 1-2 in River Valley League play. All right, we've got Vista Murrieta and Murrieta Valley on deck around the corner. Chris Erickley is going to have those highlights, and we'll see two undefeated teams from the Southwestern League battling down there. But first, the highlights roll on in Redlands, the Smudge Pot game. You know, we did a poll question just a couple weeks ago about what game is the biggest rivalry in the inland area, and we put up all the big games, all the big rivalries, and the Smudge Pot game. Redlands and Redlands East Valley won the vote, so it's the biggest rivalry game in the inland SoCal area, according to you guys, the fans. All right, Angel, let's take them out there to Redlands, California. Here we go, and Rev was actually the home team in this one, although it was on campus at Redlands High School at Dodge Stadium, but Rev the home team. There's the Terriers, the Wildcats, meeting at midfield to get this thing started. Early on, Rev back to punt, and that's not going to work, and Terriers are all over it. That's Anthony Aguila in for the touchdown. And then later, Levi Plant, the quarterback for Rev, calls his own number, and he is gone into the end zone, and Rev is coming back. Later in the first quarter, quarterback Jimmy Walker to Jordan Ory. He goes in for the score as the Terriers go up 14-7. Still in the first quarter, Plant on the keeper. Now check out Joseph Price, the big man, number 77, pulling the entire pile into the paint for the touchdown. You got to give Joseph Price the touchdown on that one. And that was 21-14. Redlands still on top of that one. Then later, Craig Lee going about 70 yards on this touchdown run here, as Redlands built a 28-17 lead at halftime. Third quarter, Jimmy Walker drops back to pass, and he's going to find Rev's Daniel Gonzalez, the interception. So the Wildcats are back in business on offense. Plant calls his own number again, squeezes inside into the end zone, and that makes it a 5-point game. 28-23, Terriers still on top. Later in the third quarter, Lee gets the call, in for another touchdown. And he had a huge game at Dodge Stadium. Fourth quarter, Plant in on the keeper. The Wildcats keeping it close, 34-29 at that point. So still a close game in the fourth quarter, but here's the knockout punch. Walker to Walter Jones, about 95 yards on the touchdown strike. Lights out. The Terriers win the Smudge Pot game by a final score of 41-37. Wow, great game between Redlands East Valley and Rev, and Javier Cabrera was at the game getting those good highlights, and Javi back and forth, a wild shootout. What did you think of Craig Lee? He's a big-time D1 recruit. He's committed to the University of Washington, I believe. So what did you think of Craig Lee out there?
Yo, man, he was unbelievable. The guy was just running all over the place. No one could even tackle him. He was just breaking tackles left and right.
Now, Rev has dominated this rivalry in recent years. What was your kind of, your taste of this rivalry being out there? And it was packed, right? I mean, it looked, a great game, and the fans were there, and the place was packed. So, what are your thoughts on this big Smudge Pot game?
Well, first off, shout out to my friend Matthew Ziak, who's a Rev, former Rev student. He told me about, the rivalry between the two schools. So going into that game, I felt that I was going to go into a game that was going to be really, spectacular. And,
intense, yeah.
Yeah, and that's what exactly I got out of it. Both sides, they had their own student section, and both sides were just going back and forth with different chants. So it was unbelievable. I really felt the school spirit there.
Yeah, and it was like, who's the home team? It's like on Redlands campus, but Rev was technically, the home team in this one. So Redlands now undefeated in league play. Rev, having to pick up the pieces now after a tough loss. And, coming from that game, Hav, what impressed you about Redlands? Obviously, Craig Lee had a huge game, but anything else about the Terriers that really impressed you?
Just the fact that they're able to hold their defense down. Obviously, Rev struggled on offense, but they were still able to make those stops. And unfortunately for Redlands, Craig Lee, in the fourth quarter, he went down on one of the plays, and he came up limping, so I'm not unsure what his status is, but he might be injured.
You know what? We're going to have the prep dog. John Murphy was out there at the game. We're going to have him here. Hopefully, he said he'd be here live in the studio a little bit later in the show, and maybe the prep dog can shed a little more light on Craig Lee's status. Javier, Knuckles, man, bang.
And before I leave,
yeah,
Fohai beat Bloomington 22-8. Go Steelers!
Wait, one more time. Fohai beat who?
Fohai beat Bloomington 22-8. Go Steelers!
He's a Steeler right here, folks. Javier Cabrera. All right, thanks, Jav. Angel, let's check out those other scores from the Citrus Belt League from tonight. Obviously, the big game was the Smudge Pot, Redlands and Redlands East Valley, but there was a couple more scores from the Citrus Belt League. There's one we're talking about. Great job, Hav. 41-37, the Terriers are a winner. 3-0, a perfect 3-0 in the CBL. Also from the Citrus Belt League tonight, a couple more scores to run past you. Eisenhower takes care of Miller. So now this Eisenhower against Redlands game is shaping up to be a good one because, man, the Eagles are flying high right now. They blank Miller 28-0. And there's one more score from the CBL tonight in Week 8. Still waiting on that Yucaipa Cajon score. So if you got that, you can hit us up on Facebook or Twitter. Use the hashtag HSGTFB, and we'll get that score, Yucaipa and Cajon, for you. All right, moving on. Our HSGT poll question this week. Let's go ahead and punch that up, Angel, because the fans had all week to go online and vote. And we'll give you final results tomorrow on the Saturday Scouting Report show. But we were asking, who is the biggest game changer in the inland area this season? And we had a bunch to pick from. And let me call up the stats right now. Just go ahead and leave that up there, Angel. I'm going to call up some stats from our website, the current percentages right now. Right now, the biggest game changer in the inland area, no surprise here, Sua Cravens at 34%. So he's got the comfortable lead. Second is Jamal Morrow from Heritage at 22%. Morrow had a big game. You saw him strip the ball loose and forcing the fumble, had that long 85-yard touchdown. So Sua first, Jamal Morrow second. And let's see, in third place right now is Jacob Taylor from Rim of the World. So those are your selections. You can still vote tonight. So if you're on the website right now, go ahead and vote, and we'll bring you up-to-date results tomorrow night, or tomorrow on the HS Game Time Saturday Scouting Report. All right, moving on. Back here live in the studio, the highlights roll on just down the stairs from here at the Press Enterprise at RCC as the Hsgt-Week Experience took his Banning team into a contest against Notre Dame and Mountain Valley League action. All right, Angel, let's roll those highlights from RCC, Notre Dame, and Banning. How long would Hsgt-Week wait to make an impact? Well, not very long. Check him out. There he goes, Hsgt-Week. Pete McGowan's like, oh my goodness. Yeah, Hsgt-Week's pretty good. But the Titans would battle back. Paul Bradvica got his team moving to Zach Kelvington in for the touchdown. But man, here comes that Hsgt-Week guy again. He's going in for the touchdown. He used to wear number 8. Now he wears 17, but he's just as fast. And here he goes. Rolls out, takes a hit, and still gets in for another touchdown. The Hsgt-Week Experience rolls on. Then later, how about some Banning defense? That's Babra Edwards coming up with the interception for the Banning Broncos. So the Broncos offense back in business. What are you going to do? Well, if it ain't broke, you don't fix it. Hsgt-Week breaks off a tackle, goes to the outside, and that's all she wrote in this one as Banning goes on to the big win. But there's my guy, Joe Pierrick. He kicked the field goal. But Banning did go on to beat Notre Dame by a final score of 62-31. All right, let's check out those other scores from the Mountain Valley League tonight. Javier, you just did the Redlands game, but now he's back doing the scores and doing a great job. There it is, 62-31. Man, Banning enjoying a great season, 7-1 overall, 3-0 in league play. And the Hsgt-Week Experience, a big reason why. Okay, also from the Mountain Valley League tonight, Harupa Hills. Check out that win right there against Rubidoux. 35-20 the final score. Harupa Hills 5-3 as is Rubidoux. And one more from the Mountain Valley League tonight. Rim of the World and Citrus Valley hooking up. Still waiting for a final score, but I think I heard somewhere in the newsroom, and Angel, if you want to crank up that newsroom camera right now, let's go ahead and do it. We're still waiting for a score from Rim of the World and Citrus Valley, but look at all those guys. We got EPJ, we got Rich, we got Sarah, there's Miriam with her back turned, but they're all working on scores, trying to get scores and highlights. There he is. In fact, we're going to have EPJ on the show in just a little bit. He's going to break down that Novi and La Sierra game, but we're working on that Rim of the World Citrus Valley score, but I heard earlier in the newsroom that Citrus Valley actually had the lead on Rim, so that would really shake up the league standings if that actually finishes that way. All right, we're going to have more highlights. Chris Erkley standing by with Vista Murrieta and Murrieta Valley coming right up. But first, we're going to, you already know this, but KCAL 96.7 FM is your home for the San Diego Chargers all season long. I go on there Wednesday mornings. We talk high school football. Of course, we talk the Chargers and some NFL. And here's a little sneak peek of what we talked about this past Wednesday.
What's going on in the rest of the sports world, Pat?
Tiffany, it's rivalry week locally for the high school teams. The big one is right down the road. It's called the Smudge Pot. Redlands East Valley against Redlands. I don't know if you guys know this, but I come from a Terrier family, like 4th-generation Redlands High School. Wow. My wife was a cheerleader there, so it's big news around my household, so it's rivalry week there, and it's two great teams. The other big game is Vista Murrieta, Murrieta Valley, two undefeated teams, 7-0 each,
awesome.
And that's for first place in the Southwestern League.
I love it when that happens, when you got two undefeated teams. That means Summit is coming out.
Well, Vista Murrieta is like number 3 in the state and like top 15 in the nation, so they're the heavy favorite in this one.
Awesome, and they're going to have coverage of all those games.
Right. Yes.
Where do you go to see that, Pep Fernandez?
HSGameTime.pe.com. If you click on the HS Game Time logo, you'll see all the shows. We do tons of football highlights and shows.
Right on, and we'll do links up on our Facebook. Pep, we got 2 words for you. You rock!
Awesome.
KCAL rocks 96.7 FM, your home for the San Diego Chargers this season. Chris Erkley stopping in, and he had the maybe the game of the week. Well, it was supposed to be the game of the week going into it. Yeah.
But
2-7-0s.
The ending score on the scoreboard may have said it otherwise. I mean, coming into this game, I actually when we had to make our picks on the tiebreaker for the pick'em, I had a 21-point win for Vista Murrieta. I was almost there, a little bit off, but let's roll to the highlights. So that'll tell the true story. Vista Murrieta with their game faces on, led by their skipper, Coley Candell. As usual, he's saying, hey, guys, let's make sure we don't miss HS Game Time live. I don't care if we win or lose the game. Murrieta Valley trying to make something happen, but Sua Cravens had other plans. Here he goes, picking off Andrew Blake. Off to the races, Sua, working on his 40 time, I think he was on that one. 98-yard interception return for a touchdown, making a few points on his way to the end zone. Vista Murrieta continues to roll early. Nick Stevens, the QB for them, letting the deep ball fly to Colin Baker. That's good for a Baker's half dozen. And a 28-0 Vista lead. Murrieta Valley hoping to crack into the Vista lead. Running back Javi Ragudo, not to be confused with Javi Cabrera of HS Game Time, in for the touchdown. A 28-7 Vista lead. Right before the half, 3 more for Vista. Like father, like son, it's Aaron Ruth with a 32-yard field goal. Now in the second half, check out the new weapon at receiver for Vista, Darius Jeter, the transfer from Rancho Christian. A nice catch there. Vista not able to cash in on that drive, though. Murrieta Valley would make things interesting early in the second half. Andrew Blake finds a wide-open Terrence Solomon, who's off to the races for an 80-yard score. Things would get a little chippy. He'd be mouthing off quite a bit during the game. Sua Cravens would go over, exchange Christmas card addresses and whatnot, I'm sure. Vista, though, would have enough. Sua Cravens with the blitz as the linebacker, getting the sack on Blake, denying the first down effort from Murrieta Valley. And then Keyshawn Holmes would just put the game out of the reach for the Broncos. 2 more rushing touchdowns for him late in the game. This one would push the lead to 38-14. Vista stays undefeated, ruining the undefeated season for Murrieta Valley as Vista cruises to the 45-17 win.
So 2 undefeateds. We knew Murrieta Valley was good, but Vista Murrieta is just that
They
good,
just
right?
quite hadn't played the schedule that Vista Murrieta had played earlier this year. I mean, Vista Murrieta challenged Rev, Cathedral, the team from San Diego. They gave them a good run for their money. Thunder Ridge, the school from Colorado that they played is actually their only loss is against the mighty Broncos over here. Not the Denver Broncos, but the Vista Murrieta Broncos. And then also that team from Alaska that they played, I understand from my Vista, I now have about 5 Vista Murrieta insiders. I was told that they are competing for the championship this weekend.
The state
in
title
Alaska.
game?
Yeah.
South Anchorage.
They play that baby real early up there because apparently if you attempt to throw the ball in November, it freezes in midair. It doesn't come down.
It's really true.
Yeah.
We should get video of that. Did Vista Murrieta have new uniforms? That's kind of a curveball here, but
to me.
Really? Maybe I haven't seen them enough.
Yeah. I've been to their games like 4 times this year. I feel like I've seen those. Those look like the normal road whites. I could be could be mistaken, but look like the normal road whites.
I'm gonna have to call your insiders.
Yeah, I'm gonna. I did not hear any chatter about any new unis. I don't know. Coley Kendall, making $1.5 million. He can pretty much do whatever he wants over there at Vista. But you never.
He
know.
makes a nice. There he is.
Yeah, he's all business.
With his big
Coach
salary.
Kendall, even when they were up 28-0, he was acting like it was a tie game with 2 minutes left in the Super Bowl.
He's intense.
That's the way he
man.
rolls, though, and that's why they are. What people would say, and I agree, the top team in the IE. Actually, many would say top team in SoCal. Modern Day lost tonight. I think Mission Viejo, they did win.
They beat Tesoro, but it was a battle.
We could see a showdown between Vista and Mission Viejo later down the road in the playoff picture. Never know. A lot more football left to be played. The key game that people are going to be circling down on their calendars out there in the Southwest is going to be Vista and Chaparral. Of course, Chaparral in for a little bit of a scare tonight, just squeaking past Great Oak after maybe Great Oak was tired of getting beat up by Vista last week. But still, I imagine, and I was told also by many on the Vista sideline that they are definitely concerned with Chaparral. They know Chaparral's got a mean running game.
They do.
They are going to pound and grind the ball, and it's going to be kind of an opposite, 2 different styles. Vista's more of a flashy, showy kind of offense. Nick Stevens likes to let it fly, and on the other hand, more ground and pound for Chaparral. That's still 2 weeks away, though. We got a lot of
final week of the
work
season.
left
That's
to be
gonna
done.
Be huge.
Yeah, Murrieta Valley, they're a good team, but Vista is just a well-oiled machine. I mean, they've got a cook and a baker at wide receiver. When you've got 2 culinary specialists that can catch the ball like that, you're a dangerous team.
You're cooking on offense.
Not to mention this Darius Jeter that you saw catch a ball as well. That transfer from Rancho Christian. Kid's about 6'2", looks like Terrell Owens is playing for Vista Murrieta now. Another weapon that they have. They are definitely going to be a force to be reckoned with.
All right, cool. Thank you, Chris. You'll be back in the show. We'll break down those highlights once again. But let's check out some of those other scores from the Southwestern League. As Chris alluded to, that Chaparral had a battle with Great Oak. But, hey, Javier, if you're back there, let's crank up the scoreboard from the Southwestern League. There's the one we were just talking about, 21-14. The Pumas with that Thunder and Lightning, Skylar Siebold and Justin Harris in the backfield. They hold off the Wolfpack 21-14. So Chaparral improves to 3-0. And as Chris mentioned, they're both 3-0, Chaparral and Vista Murrieta. And they have that meeting in the final week of the regular season. Here's that score we are still trying to track down. Citrus Valley and Rim of the World. And Citrus Valley is a winner. 35-21. The Blackhawks get it done. So the Fighting Scots lose for the first time this season. 35-21, your final score. And back to the Southwestern League. Murrieta Mesa and Temecula Valley, the Rams, they pick up a 34-17 win as Murrieta Mesa is now 6-2 overall, 1-2 in league play. And that was the one that Chris just did, 45-17. The Broncos roll in this one in that big rivalry game. And it was a battle of 2 7-0 teams. Vista Murrieta having no problem tonight with the Nighthawks, 45-17. They're 8-0 overall, 3-0 in the Southwestern League. All right, back here live in the studio. It's a good time to break out our HS Game Time rankings, which could have some movement this week. But here's how they looked this week. Number 1, no-brainer, Vista Murrieta, 7-0, followed by Centennial, who was a winner on Thursday night. We're going to have those highlights coming up in just a moment. Citrus Hill, Chaparral, Murrieta Valley. Now, Vista is number 1, so a loss to the Broncos isn't that bad, but Murrieta Valley at number 5 slip. Well, Redlands at number 7 did pick up a big win against Redlands East Valley, so maybe the Terriers climb. We'll have to wait and see. Heritage also a winner tonight against Paloma Valley, so there could be some movement in the top 10 HS Game Time rankings come next week. All right, back here live in the studio. We've got a couple more scores to run past you before we kind of recycle through the highlights and reset week 8 of the high school football season. So, Javier, let's go back to the scoreboard and show you a couple more of those scores. This is from the Big 8. Santiago all over Corona, 49-13. So the Sharks are 3-0. And they will get Centennial in the final week of the season, so that could be a huge game if the Sharks and Huskies, as we presume they will run the table and remain undefeated. Norco 37-0 against Roosevelt, so Norco a big winner. They bounced back from that tough, heartbreaking loss to Centennial from the Big 8. All right, moving on to the next score. This one comes from the Inland Valley League. Arlington defeats Canyon Springs 49-12. So the Lions are 6-2. They're 4-0 overall, and they have the Rancho Verde coming up. We'll have those Rancho Verde highlights coming up from a Thursday night game. All right, moving on to the next score from tonight. And this one's from the Mountain Pass League. Beaumont over San Jacinto 35-23. And Beaumont now 6-2, 2-1 in league play. Also from the Mountain Pass, Hemet and Citrus Hill, they're still undefeated, 8-0, 3-0 in the Mountain Pass. Hemet losing 52-14. And one more from the Mountain Pass League, Tahquitz beating their rival just down the road in Hemet, West Valley, 66-27. Tahquitz now 7-1, 3-0 in league play. So that Tahquitz against Citrus Hill game could be a good one moving forward. All right, is that all the scores for right now? I think that is all the scores for right now. Oh, one more. Carter and San G. And Carter, they also remain undefeated on the season, 49-14. A big win against San Gorgonio. Carter 8-0, 3-0 in the San Andreas League. All right, back here live in the studio. We had a couple Thursday night games. We told you about the big one in the Inland Valley League. The Rancho Verde taking on North. Now it's Arlington and the Rancho Verde hooking up next week. Both teams fighting for first place. That's going to be a huge game. But let's rewind to Thursday night. The Rancho Verde taking on North at Ramona Stadium. North and the Rancho Verde looking to keep pace with Arlington in the league standings. First quarter, Mustangs on their own 10. Cedric Peterson gets the call. I don't always score touchdowns, but when I do, they go for 90 yards. Peterson to the house, and the Rancho Verde up 7-zip. Then back the other way, the Huskies quarterback Joseph Garcia hits Marcus Baugh, who shakes a tackler and picks up a big chunk of yards. Nice play by the future Buckeye. That sets up a Cole Bailey field goal, his first of 2 field goals in the first half. To the second quarter, the Mustangs go back to the ground game. Malcolm Hill, back in his number 39 jersey, feels more comfortable in that one, squirts through traffic and finds the paint. 14-3 Mustangs. Later in the second, North with the ball. The Mustangs playing physical on defense. Damone Backus, the big hit, jars the ball loose. Dejon Wise scoops it up and takes it back 45 yards for the score. Mustangs on top, 21-6 at the break. Third quarter, Rancho Verde works DeMaurier Stringfellow into the passing game. Stringfellow hauls in this pass, and then later on that same drive, Keyshawn Slaughter on the carry. Get in there. Mustangs leading 28-6. Later in the third, Huskies now on offense. Jason Bell Wilson makes the great catch, but he pays the price. Wise is there to call down the Thunder. Same drive, Garcia going to the air to Denzel Foster, tips the pass, and still makes the touchdown catch while sitting down on the job. Great play, Denzel. Later in the third, the Mustangs finally put this one away on the Peterson touchdown run, his second of the game. The Rancho Verde wins 34-13, setting up a big one with Arlington next week.
Feels great to come out and do what we need to do, execute. I was playing the whole week. We lost early against Riverside Poly, so the hopes were a little down. So we couldn't give up. We came out and we executed, did what our coaches told us to do.
My line blocking, my running back Slaughter doing this thing, they just made me comfortable back there so I could do my thing.
Damone Backus, the big hitter at linebacker, and Malcolm Hill, the safety who converted into a quarterback and doing great things in the place of Sharon Jones. All right, the other Thursday night game was King and Centennial. And King actually gave Centennial a scare in the early goings. Had the Huskies on the rope early on, but the Centennial Huskies regained their form, and they did go on to another Big 8 league victory. So let's go back to Thursday night. Here, those highlights. Chris Erickley has those highlights.
Many were expecting Centennial to have an easy time with King on Thursday night, but the Wolves would make things interesting in the first half. Centennial, the king of the rings, but they would be in for a scare early. King starts off the game with a little surprise as they come out with the onside kick and recover. They wouldn't stop there. King would move their way down the field, and it's running back Dylan Hosley punching in the score for the early 7-0 King lead. One more for King later in the first half. Kendall Moore in the backfield. Nothing doing on the right side. Moore hits the brakes and finds himself on the breakaway for the end zone. 14-0 King. Could we have a king-size upset on our hands? Matt Logan would regroup the troops, and Centennial would get back to work. Running back Trey Watson is going for 6. Shake and pass the King D with ease on his way to the end zone. Now 14-7 late in the first quarter. More from the Centennial running game. This time it's the other half of their 1-2 punch on the ground. Austin Rankin goes in for the score, with the Huskies cutting the lead to 14-13. Centennial had just seen enough from King after the first quarter threat. They would not be stopped in the air, on the ground, or special teams. Austin Crevichet refuses to go down, returning the punt to the 1-yard line. Watson would finish the TD drive with the score from 1 yard out to put Centennial in the driver's seat, a 21-14 lead mid-second quarter. There would be one more score for the Wolves in the second quarter as they punch in the field goal from 35 yards out to cut the Husky lead to 21-17. But Centennial would fire right back. Centennial QB Robert Weber letting the deep ball fly, and beware for Barry Ware. Weber floats the TD pass right into his hands for a 28-17 halftime lead. King hoping to keep things interesting, driving down the field early in the third quarter, but the pass is picked on the great heads-up play by Centennial's Anthony Nelson. The Centennial passing attack would continue its dominance. It's Robert Weber connecting with Barry Ware for his second TD of the game, 10th of the season. Sorry, not eligible for your fantasy roster. Now early in the fourth quarter, the air assault would continue. This time it's Weber mixing it up, finding his buddy Joe Wheat for the score. Centennial avoids the early scare as they cruise to a 49-17 win over King.
All right, a lot more scores and highlights still to come on this edition of HS Game Time Live. We're going to reset the highlights. We've got Paloma Valley and Heritage, La Sierra, Nor Vista, Vista Murrieta, Murrieta Valley. We have the Smudge Pot game, and I saw the prep dog. He just rolled in. In fact, Angel, you want to go to that newsroom cam real quick before we head to break? There's the prep dog. There's EPJ. Yeah, there he is. Hey, prep dog. There he is. All right. Rich, Sarah, Miriam, EPJ, the prep dog, they're all doing their thing. We're going to reset this highlights one more time, break them all down, including that big Smudge Pot game, and we're going to come right back on HS Game Time Live.
Redlands cheerleaders love HS Game Time with Pep Fernandez!
And welcome back. That's right. That was some Nor Vista fans there in the end of that. But welcome back to HS Game Time Live. We're going to have all those highlights and scores coming back at you in just a moment. Reminder that we are on Facebook. We are on Twitter. Got the Twitter up right now, hanging out, doing some tweets. Hearing from the Ramona Rams football team, they said Mo Val and Ramona going at it. Mo Val quarterback, that's Dane Watkins, I assume, ejected. Very hard-hitting game. Mo Val wins 25-17. That's from the Twitter universe from the Ramona Rams. And Eisenhower also checking in on Twitter. They're saying they're in a two-way tie with Redlands for the CBL lead. So congratulations to the Eagles. And that game with the Terriers is shaping up to be a huge one. And I believe it is in the final week of the season. And I want to say it's a Thursday night. So HS Game Time will more than likely, like 99% likely, be at that game on a Thursday night in the final week of the season as Redlands and Eisenhower continue this collision course to play for the Citrus Belt League Championship. All right, so the hashtag is HSGTFB. So if you have a comment or an opinion or you were at a game, you want to let us know about it, hit us up on Twitter and we'll try to read some of these on the show before we check out. But we're about halfway through already. And now the highlights roll on once again, and we start down in Menifee. They're calling it the Menifee Bowl. Heritage and Paloma Valley, and it's a huge contest in the Sun Belt League. Angel, let's take them down there to Menifee, where before the game, Heritage retired the number 2 jersey of Donovan Adams. He was killed in a car accident earlier this year. There's the trophy for the Menifee Bowl. The Patriots coming out swinging. On defense, though, Paloma Valley with the ball. David Solis breaking off a big run, but watch out for Jamal Morrow. He's a game changer. The fans voted, and they said he was. There he was, forcing the fumble, and the Patriots would recover. Then it's Matt Bradshaw rolling out. And there he is to Ivan Rodriguez. Evan takes the big hit from Solis, but Evan Rodriguez, E-Rod, still holds on. Then it's Charlie Wallace for the Wildcats. In for the sack there. Now we move to the second quarter. Still no score when Jamal Morrow is about to change that. Breaks loose, gets the big hit from E-Rod. Evan Rodriguez there on the outside, and he is gone. 85 yards to the paint. 7-zip Heritage on top. Later in the second quarter, the Patriots go to the kicking game. Logan Netter nets the field goal, and that makes it 10-zip Heritage. But here comes Paloma Valley. Quarterback Brent Bohm. His homies just call him Bebo. Bebo to Matt Orzik, the big target there. And then later on that same drive, just before halftime, it's Bohm to C.J. Parker in for the touchdown. Heritage led 10-7 at halftime, and the Patriots would hold off Paloma Valley. Final score of 24-13. So that trophy is going to Heritage as the Patriots are a winner, 24-13. All right, so also from the Sun Belt League tonight, let's run through those scores. And we told you Heritage holding off Paloma Valley in a big rivalry game down there in Menifee, the Menifee Bowl they're calling it. So let's check out the rest of the scores from the Sun Belt League tonight. There's Heritage, 3-0 now in the Sun Belt, 7-1 overall. Also from the Sun Belt, Elsinore and Temescal Canyon. And the Tigers, they're also 3-0. So watch out for the Elsinore Tigers. That Heritage game is going to be a big one. 35-20, they are a winner. And Lakeside, they earned their first win of the season, 16-14 over Paris. All right, back here live in the studio. We're moving on to the River Valley League. And it was a first-place showdown between league rivals, Nor Vista and La Sierra. Now, they used to play early in the season, but now they're in the same league, and they were battling for first place, so it meant even more. Okay, Angel, let's go out to those highlights. Novi, La Sierra. Oh, that's Notre Dame. But can we go to the Novi, the Nor Vista highlights? Nor Vista taking on La Sierra. We'll get to Notre Dame in just a moment. They were taking on Banning down there. There they are. And that's Jonathan McCoy getting the call for La Sierra. He's going to move the chains with a nice run there. And then later on that same drive, it's Derek Cruz heading off to McCoy. He did the work, and he punches it in for the touchdown, and that makes it 6-zip La Sierra on top. Then it's DeAndre Castanon breaking off a 69-yard touchdown run, nothing but green grass in front of him, and that ties the game at 6 apiece. Then later, quarterback Derek Cruz hooking up with Aquari Eddington, and he's got the big gain there for the Eagles. The Eagles moving the ball, but on that same drive, they would stall. They're back to punt. Bad snap, and the Braves are all over it. That is not going to work out. So La Sierra is down, and Nor Vista would recover or take over and deep into La Sierra territory. That sets up Andrew Martinez. Breaks off that tackle, stays on his feet and into the end zone. And Nor Vista on top, 12-6. Back come the Eagles. A Johnny Salazar sighting with the long hair in for the touchdown at receiver. And that makes it 13-12 Eagles on top. but Novi would grab the lead right back. Justin Spillman, the quick out to Victor Gonzalez, and he is down the sideline, 65 yards for the touchdown. 27-13, Nor Vista is your winner. EPJ stopping by the studio here. He was at the game. And Nor Vista, I've seen them a couple times in person. I look at them, I'm like, well, they're okay, but I always leave impressed. I don't know what they do. They just kind of grind away. I mean, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, today was an interesting game. Kind of angle I kind of took with my story. Their offense, when Cam Batdorf looks back at the game film on offense, he's not going to like what he sees, except for 4 plays. Their touchdowns went for 69 yards, 30 yards, 65 yards, and 75 yards. Victor Gonzalez caught a 75-yard touchdown pass later in the game for that final score. So 91% of their offense came on 4 plays. Their 30 other plays only gained 23 yards. So still, a great. And I was talking to Coach Mark Rechtenwald at La Sierra. His defense played a great game, except for 4 plays. And like they said, that was enough to make the difference. Those are 4 plays Nor Vista made, and La Sierra didn't. So, and then Nor Vista's defense stepped up, shut out La Sierra basically for the last 36 minutes of the game. So, in great position. Nor Vista now 3-0, having already beaten Moreno Valley. And La Sierra, kind of maybe what a lot of people would consider their 2 biggest challengers. They're in position to win their first league title since 1995.
Yeah, that's where I was going to go next. The Braves control their own destiny, you would say at this point, right?
Yeah, they still have Jurupa Valley and Patriot left on the schedule. Jurupa Valley actually beating Patriot today, a big win for Jurupa Valley, getting their first win. But, you got to think right now, Nor Vista, very much in the driver's seat, a team that had some injuries early, a tough schedule, started off, kind of on the downside, but they're kind of getting things rolling now, and they do have the speed with guys like Castanon and Gonzalez, but they can also grind it out, as we've seen. They got 4 or 5 different running backs who they can really control the clock with. And
we can make their offense look good in the highlights. We just show their 4 best plays.
It helps when you're averaging 60 yards on touchdowns. So.
Johnny Salazar sighting. How did he look out there at receiver?
He made some big plays at receiver. Just right now, La Sierra just couldn't get things clicking. Like I said, they'd get down. They're facing like a 3rd and 1 on their 20, and a snap rolling back to the quarterback, and they end up fumbling and turning the ball over. So just little things here going wrong. But Salazar can still make plays. Little interesting thing at the end of the game, he also returns kicks for them, and he was standing around as a ball on a punt was going down, and he took a pretty vicious hit and, drew a flag on that, which started leading to some chippiness. So we had a little bit of a skirmish. 2 player on each side ejected in this game. So, district rivalries will bring out some of that stuff in there, but, both sides did a good job making sure no players left the sidelines and everything. So, but yeah, you look at, La Sierra, they're still getting some good things to do. Derek Cruz, the new quarterback, threw for 170 yards today, and Salazar caught 4 passes for 68 yards, and I believe his 2nd touchdown catch. So, still finding ways to make plays out there.
Now, these teams usually met early in the season, but now they're both in the River Valley. Did it feel like an intense rivalry out there once again?
Oh, definitely. First time that these teams have met in a league game since 1995. So. And, I was talking to the quarterback from the Nor Vista team on that team was Matt Magallanes, and he was on the sidelines, and he said, there's nothing more, playing your district rivals. It's a league game. Both teams undefeated in the league. Nothing can get like I think Ken Batdorf said the only way it's bigger if it's week 10.
Yeah.
So definitely a big game. You talked to Batdorf, this one feels good. We're going to celebrate tonight. Talked to Coach Rectum all over La Sierra, and his first comment was, this one hurts. Yeah. It's the game you don't want to really lose when you're facing your longtime rival.
Yeah, and you heard EPJ, they gave up, 4 big plays, and that was the difference.
Nor Vista only had 262 yards tonight. 239 of them came on those 4 plays.
All right, EPJ, thank you very much. And Javier, let's crank up that scoreboard again and show you a couple more scores from the River Valley League tonight. There's the one EPJ just talking about, 27-13. The Braves are a winner. They're 3-0 now in league play and control their own destiny moving forward with 2 games left in the regular season. Also from the River Valley tonight, Moreno Valley over Ramona 25-17. And the Rams went on to Twitter with the HSGTFB hashtag and told us that Moval and Ramona go at it. Moval quarterback, which we assume is Dane Watkins, ejected. Very hard-hitting game. Moval wins 25-17. And also from the River Valley League tonight, Jurupa Valley and Patriots. And Jurupa Valley wins 24-20. So nice win there for Jurupa Valley. All right, now we're moving on to the Citrus Belt League. Let's move here back into the studio as the highlights roll on. And Redlands against Redlands East Valley, or maybe you're more familiar with it as we call it, the Smudge Pot game. And Redlands East Valley has dominated this series, this rivalry in recent years, but the Terriers looking strong, and Rev also nursing some injuries on the defensive side of the ball, so that could hurt Rev in the long run, but it turned into a shootout between these two teams. So let's go to the highlights, and Prep Dog just walked in. Prep Dog, you got to scoot over just a little bit for me. All right, you can tell, Dodge Stadium packed. Rev was the home team, and even though they were playing on Redlands campus, and there's the two teams squaring off for the coin toss. Early on, bad punt there for Rev, and Terriers are all over. That's Anthony Aguila recovering for the touchdown. Then later, Levi Plant, the quarterback for the Wildcats, breaking loose on this touchdown run. And this game would go back and forth all night long. Later, early in the part of this game, Jimmy Walker to Jordan Ory. He goes in for the touchdown, and the Terriers are on top 14-7. But the seesaw battle continues. Plant on the keeper, and then check out Joseph Price. Price should get credit for this touchdown. The big man, 77, pulls the pile into the paint, and that's a touchdown, but the Cats were trailing 14-21, and the Terriers had an answer each time. It's Craig Lee, about 70 yards, I think, on this one, and he goes in for the touchdown as Redlands built a 28-17 lead at the break. Now we go to the third quarter. Jimmy Walker back to pass, but there's that Rev defense coming up with a big play here. Daniel Gonzalez, the interception. On the ensuing drive, Plant calls his own number. He goes in for the score, and it's only a 5-point game, 28-23, Redlands on top. But later, as we mentioned, the Terriers always had an answer, and for many times tonight at least, it was Lee getting the call. In for another touchdown, 34-23 Terriers. Here comes Plant with another touchdown, this one in the fourth quarter. So the Cats still keeping it close, 34-29, but here comes the knockout punch. Jimmy Walker to Walter Jones. I'll have to have the Prep Dog confirm this, but I think it was about 95 yards.
It was.
95 yards, you heard it. In for the touchdown. Rev would tack on one more score, but man, that was it, as Redlands goes on to win the Smudge Pot game 41-37. Joining us in the studio with his Giant shirt, who were also a winner tonight against the Cardinals in baseball playoff action, correct?
Correct.
Can you get that mic up by your mouth, Prep Dog? There you go. So, when was the last time that Redlands won the Smudge Pot?
2006, when, our man Cody was 9 years old. Cody Whitaker.
Yeah.
Poor Cody.
If you didn't see it, Murph had a picture. He blogged about it this week of Cody Whitaker, who is on Rev now, correct?
He's the Rev backup quarterback, and we had a picture of him booing Rev in 2006 when he was 9 years old.
I hope he took some heat at school about that one.
I'm sure he took it in a good-natured fashion.
So Rev was the home team. Did it look like they were the home team, or did it seem like Redlands, or was it pretty even out there in terms of fans and blue versus red?
Well, I think part of Kurt Brooks' thinking was that, he doesn't like the situation he's in where they can't afford to play at the University of Redlands, but yet they have no home field, and thus they were put in this situation. So he said, fine, we'll be the home team, but we'll sit on the visiting side and kind of like, look at our plight type of deal.
All right, so you saw Craig Lee. He had an awesome game, but I read, I think it was a tweet that he was kind of nursing an injury or hurt at the end.
Yeah, not nursing an injury. It looked fairly serious to me. He was down. He was really racked up and hurting there. 4 minutes left. It almost cost Redlands the game. And he was helped off the field after the game by his mom and his grandma. And, I don't think it's any type of injury that's going away soon. I mean, I hope it is, but it didn't look too good. It's a shoulder injury, and we just hope that Craig can get back out there and continue in the CBL season.
Yeah, the Terriers could definitely need him.
And, he had 253 yards tonight. And if he's not the best running back in the area, I want to meet who is.
Well, on that note, Prep Dog, our poll question this week: who's the biggest game changer? Who's the player that you just couldn't live without if you're a football team? We didn't put Craig Lee on the list, and
What's this we stuff?
Well, Prep Prep Dog didn't. I did. I mean, I would have put him on the list if I had. But no, it was me. But we didn't. I didn't put him on the list, and we got several tweets and Facebook posts saying, "Whoa! Craig Lee is the best running back. How could he not be on that list?" So I think he proved his point tonight.
Well, the Pepster works in mysterious ways, but you have a nice sport coat.
Thank you. Well, maybe what I was doing was, besides wearing a nice sports coat, is prompting Redlands to give him some inspiration to, like bulletin board material. Like,
yeah, you're pretty much part of Jim Walker's coaching staff now, are you? Do you get a stipend?
I think I am getting credit for this win tonight.
Nicely done.
And I figured, let's get your thoughts on it. The higher the score, the better for Redlands, right? And we know Redlands East Valley has a good defense, but their offense has not been able to put up a lot of points this season.
I was looking at some of the tweets, and one came from Blake Braun, and he was like apologizing to the Rev alumni. Nothing to apologize about. Rev played a really gutsy game without Kylie Fitz, with guys banged up all over the place. Not nearly as explosive as Redlands with Walter Jones and, of course, the great Craig Lee. But Rev made an awful lot of plays, hung in there, really gutsy effort by them. They got nothing to be ashamed of.
All right, Prep Dog, one last question. Moving forward, Eisenhower also won tonight. They're 3-0. Redlands 3-0. I believe they meet in the final week of the season, right, on a Thursday night at Dodge?
Yeah, and number one, I think that's going to be a heck of a shootout and a great game no matter what. If Craig Lee can't get back onto the field, it's really going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting either way, but that would really hurt the Redlands team because he's so much a part of their offense.
So would that mean Daryl Miller getting a majority of the carries?
Yeah, Daryl Miller came on and made some big carries, in their final drive, as well as a really clutch completion from Jimmy Walker, who played a great game, to Jordan Norrie, Jordan Norrie is kind of like the unsung hero of the Terrier offense.
He's the Prep Dog. Did you bring a prop, though, before we head out?
Yeah, I found this in the parking lot. It says "Make Some Noise." I don't know who left it behind.
Well, if it says "Make Some Noise,"
if you left this in the Terrier parking lot, I've got it now.
Prep Dog has it for you. Can I see it? Can I shake it real quick?
You can.
Because I do get some credit for the Redlands victory, right?
And a shake for the Wildcats as well.
There you go. Yeah, the gutty game, as you said, and missing key players for the Wildcats. All right, Prep Dog, thank you very much. Other scores from the CBL. There it is, the big one, the Smudge Pot game, 41-37. Hard-fought game between both sides, but the Terriers come out on top, 41-37. So they are 3-0 now in the CBL. I'm sure Kurt Bruick's bunch will bounce back. They, as Prep Dog said, they're a gritty, gutty, hard-working group. All right, Eisenhower setting up that showdown with the Terriers in 2 weeks. So they both have to win next week to continue this showdown, this collision course in the final week of the season. Eisenhower 28-0 against Miller. And one more from the CBL, Yucaipa and Cajon. Did we get that last one? We did. Javier, Angel, you guys are awesome. You got the score in there. 26-24. Cajon, the Cowboys, who are new to the Citrus Belt League, and they defeat Yucaipa 26-24, the final score. All right, back here live in the studio. The highlights roll on. And we're taking you down to RCC for some Mountain Valley League action. Let's just go down there and check out the highlights. Angel, go ahead and roll those as Notre Dame was taking on the Sty Hairston Experience in Banning. And how long would it take for Sty Hairston to get it cranking? Well, not very long. Early in this one, he is gone. Check out Pete McGowan saying, "Oh my goodness, that's Sty Hairston. He's pretty good." Then Notre Dame, they had moved the ball. Paul Bradvica to Zach Kelvington. He goes in for the score. So Notre Dame looking like they might hang with the Sty Hairston Experience and the Bronco offense early on, but there goes Sty again, just spinning over the goal line into the end zone for another touchdown. Sty Hairston, another touchdown. Take that, rewind it back. It sounds like a broken record around here. Do you guys know what records are, by the way? Maybe. I used to listen to records. How about some Banning defense right there? Babra Edwards, the interception, as Banning held the lead 27-7 at that point. And then how about another Sty Hairston Experience touchdown? Shakes off that tackle, and he's in for the score as Banning goes on to defeat Notre Dame by a final score of 62-31. But there's Joe Pierrick. He boots the field goal for Notre Dame. Gotta love the kickers here on the show. All right. A couple more scores from the Mountain Valley League. Let's go to that scoreboard as Banning is a winner, 62-31. We got a good Citrus Valley score coming up in just a second. Go to the next score from the Mountain Valley League. Harupa Hills, maybe a shocker, maybe not. 35-20 over Rubidoux. And finally from the Mountain Valley League, it was Citrus Valley and Rim of the World, and the Blackhawks pick up the big win, 35-21, as the Fightin' Scots lose for the first time this season. All right, now we're moving on to the Southwestern League, and joining us here in the lounge, Chris Erkley with what was billed as the game of the night.
Billed as the game of the night, two undefeated teams, Vista Murrieta and Murrieta Valley. You figure to be a showdown, but then again, Vista Murrieta kind of in a league of their own, some might say, just like the popular movie from the late 90s.
You love your pop culture old school references.
That one was late 90s. I usually go much
older
than that. Older than
I don't know. I have to look up the copyright on that date. Gina Davis, Tom Hanks, right?
Madonna was in that one too, right?
There you go. Real curveball.
All right, anyways, back to the lecture at hand. Kula Candela, look at that. He's in a league of his own as far as facial expressions go. I got to say that. Murrieta Valley looking to get things cracking in the end zone. Sua Cravens looking to get cracking on the defensive side. He's off to the races doing his little Carl Lewis 100-yard dash. No one around him, just breeze in his hair. Actually, he doesn't really have much hair, so I guess he wouldn't have breeze in his hair. Touchdown, Sua Cravens, though. Then Nick Stevens and his 4.8 GPA. That ball almost got as high as his GPA right there to Colin Baker. That's good for our Baker's half dozen. 28-0 Broncos. Murrieta Valley hoping to crack into the Vista lead. Running back Javi Ragudo, not to be confused with Javier Cabrera, the all-star here at HS Game Time. Then, right before the half, 3 more for Vista Murrieta. Like father, like son. Aaron Ruth, son of Kurt Ruth, with the 32-yard field goal. Now in the second half, check out the new weapon at receiver for Vista. Darius Jeter, the transfer from Rancho Christian, with a nice catch. Not able to cash in on that drive, though. Murrieta Valley looking to make things a little interesting here in the early second half. Andrew Blake finds a wide-open Terrence Solomon, who's off to the races for his 80-yard score. He would be getting chippy with the Broncos sideline, and Stu Cravens and him exchanging pleasantries, as Stu Lance of the Laker broadcast would say. Vista Murrieta, though, would have enough, and Sua Cravens racking up the sack on Andrew Blake right there, one of many that he's had this season. Keyshawn Holmes, the running back for Vista Murrieta, putting the game out of reach. 2 rushing touchdowns late for him. 38-14 the score after that one, and Vista would be on top out there. The king of the Southwest, I guess you could call them. 45-17 would be the score.
Broncos tough to beat, number 1 in our rankings for a good reason, and they've kind of mowed through their opposition, including Rev. I mean, even if you want to go back to that game, that was supposed to be like the huge rivalry in the inlet area, and the big time.
They made
game.
Easy work of Rev. I mean, Rev though just was off on their game, and they, as we know, they've had a couple rough breaks, rough injury.
Yep.
Had a tough battle tonight. I will say I was so close to. I was actually 14-1 in the pick'em this week because of that little Rim of the World slip up.
Oh yeah.
But I don't know if anybody had Citrus Valley winning that game, but I was fairly close on the prediction of the Vista game. I think I said 42-21, and it was 45-17.
Pretty close.
So
about
we'll
3 touchdown difference you were thinking of that one.
Dave Zink was giving me a hard time, but that's just because he likes to give me a hard time, as usual. Oh, we're going out to P-Dog. Dave Zink not
Angel,
there.
You can go back to it real quick.
Is Dave Zink out there eating a piece of pizza in the corner or something?
Hey, if Javier's out there, send Javier in real quick, and he can pan around a little bit on the camera and get some shots while Chris and I kind of wrap this up real quick. But yeah, it's a late night here at the Press Enterprise, trying to get all these scores and highlights.
Oh, there's Rich, Big and Rich.
Yeah, Big and Rich.
Mr. Dodger Blue, hey.
Where's our fearless leader? Is he not even in? Did he give up on our show already? It's not even over yet. Miriam, EPJ, the Prep Dog.
Yep. Waving.
Oh, we can't see Lauren.
Sarah Slaughter on her crutches, fresh off her leg transplant.
Lauren, back up. Swivel around her so we can't see you. Everyone wants to see the whole.
The legends of
the whole
HS
team.
Game Time. Lauren Azam. Unfortunately, keep going. She's a Raider fan. We got to feel a little bad for her.
There you go. Still no Dave Zink?
Dave Zink is no.
He missed out then.
He's a little disgruntled about that Notre Dame game. I think he had to.
And there's Angel, the man behind the magic, who makes it happen.
The new Steven Spielberg, that's what they call him.
Is that what they call him?
The Latin Steven Spielberg.
All right, good enough. Can you come back here live in the studio? And before we wrap this up, so Vista Murrieta wins. Chaparral wins despite a scare against from Great Oak. They're going to play in the final week of the season. We assume they're both going to be undefeated.
Should be a showdown. That game is at Vista Murrieta.
Is it?
You know they're going to pack the crowd for that one. So, I mean, if I'm a betting man, you still got to go Vista Murrieta because of the schedule that they have played. Although Chaparral did have a tough game against Tesoro on the road, and
they
that
did.
is
And they
no
beat
small
Oceanside
feat. Yeah,
as well.
Beat Oceanside. Hopefully, I mean, definitely a rivalry game. We can only hope for a shootout. Kind of like the New York Mets, you know.
Kind of like the New York Mets, but not quite as good as the New York Mets. Dare I say maybe an inland CIF championship preview? Chaparral and Vista Murrieta.
Very well could be
maybe.
Chaparral.
I'm just saying. I don't know. I'm sure there's Centennial, Norco people out there maybe.
Centennial had a scare, small scare against
Norco.
King. No.
King, as well.
14-0 lead for King.
Back-to-back weeks.
Yeah, but King kind of fell back to reality, I guess you could say, in Centennial with their firepower. Too much, though. Stuart Cravens, though, decent player. Hopefully he finds a university to go play some football.
Yeah, I don't. Well, hopefully he pans out. He's
RCC. They might be taking. Right?
They might. They could use Sua.
Yeah,
maybe. You know what I saw?
Special teams or something.
Last night, real quick story. Marcus Baugh for North and DeMaurier Stringfellow for Rancho Verde, who are two of the top players in the area. They both punt. I didn't know that. They both punt for their teams, and they're both awesome punters. So I was like, man, maybe I should write about that because that's pretty funny. So
they don't kick 67-yard field goals.
No, like that guy at your old TV station in Spokane, right?
I believe it was Meade High School, or no, it was Central, out of the great Spokane, Washington, the metropolis of the state of Spokane.
Yeah, it was on ESPN and like NFL Network.
The second longest field goal in high school history. Some guy in Reno, Nevada, kicked a 68-yarder like 20 years ago, or something like that. I don't know who that guy was, but in Reno, someone probably bet on it. And
they kicked it. I'm going to talk to my boy Joe Pierrick at Notre Dame, see if we can break that record this season.
There you go.
Yeah. All right, Chris, thank you very much. Xavier, let's check out the rest of the scores from the Southwestern League. And Chaparral, they do win 21-14, but it was close against Great Oak, so the Pumas are now 7-1 overall, 3-0 in the Southwestern League. Also tonight from the Southwestern League, the next score, please. Murrieta Mesa over Temecula Valley, 34-17. So the Rams are now 6-2 overall, 1-2 in league play. And of course, Vista Murrieta and Murrieta Valley, 45-17. The Broncos are a winner. All right, back here live in the studio. We're about ready to wrap things up, but we just got in some little bit of Corona and Santiago video. So, Angel, if you have the Santiago video ready, let's just go ahead and roll it. We'll tell you who won. And the Santiago Corona game, it was do you have that video, Angel? There we go. Corona taking on Santiago in Big 8 League action. We told you Centennial the winner last night against King, and Norco was a winner against Roosevelt, and Santiago a winner tonight against Corona. Here's a little bit of the action. That's quarterback Michael Darr making plays, and I think he's going to throw a touchdown pass here to number 81 right at the camera, and that was Big and Rich Dawson hooking us up with those highlights from tonight's game. So back here live in the studio, we'll have more from Corona and Santiago on the big show, the big Saturday scouting report. So check back here on Saturday afternoon, probably around 3 o'clock-ish, and we'll have all the highlights from Week 8 of the high school football season. We're still trying to get some video from possibly Chaparral, Arlington, Elsinore, so we've got some more videos still coming in that we will add to the Saturday scouting report. Plus, the games that you just saw, we'll try to add some bonus highlights, some extra videos to those as well for the big show on Saturday. So let me refresh Twitter one more time, make sure there's someone out there if they want to get their voice heard. How about a shout out to Mike Dalton for using the HSGTFB hashtag, telling us that Chaparral was a winner over Great Oak, 21-14, the final score. All right, that will do it for HS Game Time Live. We will be back here next Friday night with all your scores and highlights, but I will be back, and I hope you'll join me tomorrow, Saturday afternoon, for the Saturday Scouting Reports. For everyone here at HS Game Time, have a great weekend, and we'll do it again next Friday night.